Alright, so welcome. This is officially, without a shadow of a doubt, the Brew. Tonight's episode, Softened Tempers, Even with Moderation. I am your host, your storyteller, your number one fan, Nobody. Thank you for spending this time with us, and hopefully you'll enjoy as much as we do. Welcome in, everybody. How we doing? Blah, but still moving. All the credit in the world is due. Thank you. Welcome in. We are roughly 3 minutes just outside of a hard start. Did get a missive from too many M's. But yeah, I got a missive from Millie. They may not be able to make it. They are feeling under the weather as far as everyone else. Have we effectively survived the week? I'm not saying that we thrived, not saying that we, epic poem worthy of we lived and all of that, but did we survive the week?
I guess we can say that.
Yes, we shall live to fight another day, another week, another few additional moments. And hey, I just shared the old news that you may not be able to make it due to being a little bit under the weather, but I'm glad that you're here. Welcome in.
Maybe the soup will help my stomach.
Soup is always a good thing. If I wasn't so lazy, I'd probably have soup more often, but I'm biased. I like making my own, so there is, of course, that. Ladies, gentlemen, he, she's, and they, these, this is officially, without a shadow of a doubt, the Brew. And unlike the vast majority of coteries, the Brew is, like all of the other coteries, quite special because of the characters, the lives that they bring to the table, and the weight and consequence of their actions. Everybody makes their bed a little differently. While there may be sheets and blankets and pillows galore, there's oftentimes other small things that individualize the process for the characters. And we are at an all-time first as far as the entirety of the coterie concerns. But before diving further in and traveling down that path, my inestimable thanks, as always and immortally, for all of your time, your effort, and your energies, your buy-ins and sellouts, and your embracing the world that these characters inhabit. It is not an easy thing. It is not an easy thing to lock ourselves into the turmoil, drama, and trauma of these characters, to get those endorphins, highs and lows, and get to the other side, whatever that side is, to embrace the moment that they are in, to envision the world that they carry on their immortal nights in. Thank you. And without me continuing to beat the very dead horse as we round the track into fully past our hard start, what questions, suggestions, hypotheses, concerns, or corners do we need to round off?
I think you should tell the rest of the people that were in the apartment what they're actually hiding in versus what they thought they were hiding in, because there seemed to be some confusion about that whole situation.
I'm gonna need a full recap. I think it's been a couple sessions that I missed, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. Recap and a better locking in of our particular situation with this coterie. Consider it.
Real quick, when was the last time that I was in a Brew session?
You were most recently here in episode 5, which was the very last session, Proof That God Loves You.
Huh.
It just seems so very long ago comparatively. The brewers and all of that have their own little special place in our hearts, and sometimes they slip our thoughts. They're not as prevalent as some of our other coteries. They're a little more quiet. There's a little more fractiousness, and there's a little more well, them realizing and understanding how big the playing field they are on is. So there's a lot. But all the same, let's dive in, shall we? Let's set the scene and bring us up to speed. Tonight's episode is the 6th of season 2.
Before you jump in, I do have a question.
Okay.
I paid the errors I made. Is it possible that you can let them, which didn't have any action, because I know it's because of my mistake and me misunderstanding the situation, like Millie said, would you allow them to, once you explain to them the situation, would you allow them to redo their action? Before you start.
No.
Okay.
It's one of those things. We don't have a rewind button, not truly, because we will never get the emotions and thoughts of that moment, of that character, by going back and undoing, by going back and retconning decisions made in stressful situations. It will.
Well, it was because of my fault. That's the reason why I asked. You know, it was my misunderstanding, it was my misread that brought everybody down to a certain, down that path. If I didn't misread the situation, it wouldn't have happened, but I misread it.
Okay. But that is the
Point of order.
Okay. All right, Congressman Mays, what is our point of order?
Point of order is, I am a individual person, and I listened to what was said and made my decisions based on what was said. So even though you were all thinking I was out of my mind for what I was doing, I stuck to my guns and made my decision.
That's fair.
There should be no reason for me to be able to walk that back now.
That's fair. I was just asking for the rest of the coterie, because I know I misread the situation, so that's on me. But yeah, I was just asking for the rest of the coterie because I told them something that their characters would not have done potentially if they had read this, if they had heard the situation. But I said something that was blatantly wrong because I misread the situation.
That sounds like someone's gone back and re-listened to the episode.
I do that from time to time.
All right. Yeah, that's a beautiful thing. I'm glad that you did get back and get a chance to listen to the episode and reanalyze. As a viewer, that's always one of the many beautiful things about us keeping our live plays and the notes from the sessions the way that they are. You get a chance to see those emotions of those characters, get a chance to see their thoughts, get a chance to relive those moments from outside of themselves, get a chance to kind of third person it. I find that a beautiful touch for us, because the written word is the written word, but there's emotion and thought and feelings and assumptions made in the moment that sometimes prove to not necessarily be what the characters in that moment felt they were, and that's perfectly fine.
More like the envisioning that I had was totally, in that moment, was totally different than what I saw. So that's what it was. But I envisioned it one way, but then going back, it's like, oh wait, that's not what he should have saw. But neither here nor there.
Okay, fair enough. All right.
That's some shit.
Not quite.
I think I must have left early the last session, because I cannot recall any of this being an issue when I left last time.
Well, we are all packed into a sedan, which at the thought in my head was it was an SUV with tinted windows that would be UV blocking. It's a sedan. I thought it was an SUV, so I thought there was plenty of room. However, it being a sedan and the windows are not tinted, there's a problem with the sun coming out.
No.
That's why I said I misread the situation, because I heard it in my head as a sedan, and through the entire story session, in my head, it was a sedan with tinted windows, like a Denali. It was more like an Impala.
Oh, it's all coming back to me now. Oh God, that was great. You had stalkers. That's what happened.
Yeah.
Okay, now I remember what happened last episode.
It's okay. We have Raiden to protect you.
That, in fact, does sum it up quite a lot. So yeah, this is episode 6 of season 2, The Brew, Rise of Brew City. Tonight's episode is entitled Soften Tempers, if with moderation. There's no other way to say it. We have a momentous occasion for one specific aspect, and that specific aspect is never before have we had a coterie beginning as we will tonight. As far as a quick Reader's Digest, Cliff Notes, Spark Notes version of events, in a fantabulous effort to save one of their own, to put their own bodies and eternal souls on the line from one of their own, the coterie stormed socially, using their powers of mind, deduction, and skill, a secure luxury condominium building. One which clearly shows signs of corners being cut in regards to design and engineering to better secure its tenants. From the outside and from the floor plans that the coterie obtained through their various sources, it is clear that the building where they are is not the building that officially exists in any records in Milwaukee. There are floors and features that no right-thinking city government would ever have allowed. Hence the difference between the floor plans obtained and the building they found themselves within. It is literally the best that money can buy. And the city is paying a good portion to use this building. The apartment, which is no simple apartment nor a simple condominium, it is a home. It is a full-fledged mansion above the riff and the wrath of everyday Milwaukee elites. It's a multi-floored mansion, a wall of windows and UV light facing the lake. It is the very definition of modern luxury. All clean, Spartan surfaces, tastefully appointed tchotchkes and subjects of conversation or conversation starters here and there, artwork that is, if you were to get full value for every piece of artwork hung from the walls or placed upon the shelves, you'd easily be in the multi-hundreds of millions of dollars. It is not a common understanding, but a lot of what the art trade does is not just the illegal, it's not just the extra legal. In fact, most of the art world of any note has had its values inflated due to various governments, local and federal, using it as a way to generate slush funds by buying above market value, by driving an artist into the stratosphere, inherently raising all of their pieces of art. The governments, both federal, municipal, and local, are able to bolster and balance their books through wars of attrition of driving the value, by driving the inherent value and the appreciated value of certain artists and certain works. And while the more notable artists and their patrons range and roam in all manner of strata of luxury and elite richness, the same tactics are used by the kindred to generate extra income, to have their dollars work for them in ways that most people would not consider. This building is an object of art. It was a project. It was several different fronts operating together to create this monstrosity. This unit that you all are in is one of many utilized for that purpose and towards that end. And the monumentous occasion is that no matter how well occluded, no matter how well just out of the way the vehicle, the elevator it is in, is from those windows, the feet, the vast walking path from the elevator to the veranda where you all had your conversation, to that wall of windows, there is UV filtration. The windows, the apartment, the condo, the elevator isn't designed to shield nor protect against the filtration of UV light. And for many, that's a death sentence under normal occasions. Even as far removed and shadowed as they are inside the vehicle, piled in like, well, a litter of kittens. Even with the trunk closed and held tight, there is filtration of UV light, which every kindred dreads, every kindred understands instinctually on levels that we have yet to fully grasp, that fire is bad and the sun is worse. Back in the earlier days of understanding what light was, people fought full-fledged duels over whether light was waves or was it particles, where there was atomic like every other thing, like the atoms and the cells. Was it waves or was it particles? And somewhere in the early 19th century, they came to the idea of understanding that it is in fact both. There are waves of particles, and they creep and they slink and they penetrate and they erode constantly. It is a constant bombardment of radiation. And even the best shielding is just shielding. It doesn't stop. It ablates. It dissipates as much UV filtration and light as possible. But even with that, there is no 100% protection from that poisonous touch. And so all of that weight, all of that understanding for our dear coterie brings us to this eventful moment. Do any of the gathered coterie have a total stamina of less than 2?
I have 3.
3 is good. 3 is good. 3 is definitely good. All right.
I'm right at 2.
I have 2.
Excellent. What that means is, well, the pain of that filtration, light and airy though it is, does not cause the kindred that you awake awash in a world of pain. It's that annoying, dry acid burn that has them versus resurrect yowling for all of their existence. Because it is a light touch. It is a bit of almost nothing as far as it goes. The filtration isn't direct, nor is it complete, but it is still very much UV filtration. So each of you all, thankfully none of you all are at stamina 1, please denote 1 aggravated level of being suntanned. You all are half to a full shade darker as your skin has smoldered and slowly roasted and cooked, low and slow as if you all were a brisket from Kansas City. Those of you who have auspics or heightened senses, more so than sense the unseen, you all get an opportunity of being able to see exactly how the light burned, how it creeped in and eased through one crack to the next as it moved across the skyline, as it slowly crawled along the ground, pushing the shadows back incrementally all day long. It is the only true sign that there was time from the moment you all climbed into the car till you blinked and you were resurrecting for the night once more. It is the only sign, while you consciously know that there's a full world out there during the day, for you as kindred, it doesn't exist. It's a world of everlasting night. It is a simple blink, and you know time has passed without feeling any of it. You don't get to dream. You don't get to have your subconscious thoughts work themselves out. You don't get a chance to process your night. You have to process on the move. You have to absorb and deal with things because there is no reprieve for you all. And therein lies the dilemma of it all. Would you all be so kind as to go ahead and roll your rouse rolls for the evening, as well as any blush that you may or may not choose to do, so that we have an understanding as to how inured you are to that transgression of the daylight world against you, because it was an assault. There's no way to not feel as if you had not been thrown into a microwave for a quick 30 seconds to top off the heat. There is no way that you don't feel misused by the very breath of God. The world hates you. It wants your existence to cease. That's what that light touch of UV filtration means emotionally. It is the, well, fuck, the world really is out to kill you.
I assume we can attempt to heal this aggravated damage too.
Yes, let's get dangerous. Oh, well now. Just waiting on you, Max.
I'm working on it. It's telling me not responding every time I roll.
Well, that's no fun.
Alright, so that's one. Alright, so first one was for rouse, second one was for blush of life. Both failed.
So your hunger goes up by 2. Well, Max's hunger goes up by 2. The beast demanding more than its pound of flesh. It's one of those few understandings you have, because its threat of being so hungry that it could eat a horse is no exaggeration. It's not simply a turning of a phrase. That is it bartering with you. That is it getting you to lower your guard, because you're thinking that it is demanding a full-fledged stallion to be brought before it. And that's how most kindred get done by their beast. That's how it slips past it. Because you're so willing to go along with the idea that your beast, your intrusive thoughts, your darker self is saying, bring me a horse! Until you realize horses don't go anywhere without either riders or handlers. And by the time that thought settles into your focus, it's too late. You've already let the beast near to the surface, because it's bartering with you. It is not beating you over the head and shoulders with a bat. It is gently requesting, nudging, pulling at your coat sleeves, tugging on your coattails. Hey, I'm so hungry I can eat a horse. Let's just get a horse, man. It'll be fine. Just a horse. Let me get close enough that I can smell it, make sure that it's clean. We'll be fine. It'll be great. And it's in that needling, and it's in that willing to compromise that kindred let their guard down. And the beast has its way with them. And that's where you are, immediately increasing in hunger, immediately increasing in demand. Everyone else resurrects for the day with the pain of understanding there's a difference between UV shielding and just being slightly out of the way. That difference makes all the difference in the world. It's been a very long time for Charlie, Millie, and Mal since they've had the opportunity of tanning, of being out in the field and sweating, or being in a lost glen somewhere in the middle of nowhere, of walking through fields of hops and barley in preparation for whatever particular distilled beverage you were hoping to obtain. It's been a very, very long time, and you don't envy the warm memories that's trying to threaten, that are creeping around the edge. You all have the pain of what that means tattooed across your skin. The scent that your nose picked up during the day of other beings, of cordite roasting slowly and lowly, sweating and steeping in its own juices, and the uncomfortable thought of knowing that it was you. And while that is problematic to wrap their noggins around, to noodle that out, it is all the worse for Aaron. Because it's not the bartering, and it's not the appeasement. It's worse because your beast is smart enough to know how to break you. Your intrusive thoughts are convincing enough that you don't mind the breaking, because it's doing a tabulation of value. And yes, it's considerable trouble making these two disappear, but surely they have friends and associates. They do business with criminals all the time. Then there's the fact that they have neighbors who could, be in money, but violence happens. And smart criminals always target those with money. And this building is full of people with money. So you're sure that somewhere out there are smart criminals who've thought about it. And if not, you can make that happen. A little changing of money, having the building targeted by various other organizations that don't have a problem targeting such places and getting away with it for the most part. You could cover this up very easily. Money makes everything possible, including home invasions and exsanguinations. And on the way up, didn't you smell red sauce. There was definitely red sauce. That means that there's rustically minded, moneyed individuals in this building. And while the high rollers up here in these, top levels, these higher echelons of the building, may be noticed that they're missing, those rustically minded individuals who are nouveau riche, or at least pragmatic, could go missing easier. They like their privacy. And as your ledger is being filled by your beast, it is very near and probably impossible to ignore that it's making sense. Getting out of this condo, getting into the building. The security already let you in, so no one would be around until perhaps considerably later. You are well dressed enough to talk your way in. Hell, and then there's Raiden. He could, get the door off the hinges, get past most security. He could carve them up enough that there's just enough life in them to divest them of it with little to no effort. And you did hear that hunting together is a bonding event for coteries.
So as Aaron finally wakes up for the evening, his veins feeling thin, running dry with so much loss of blood from having to just wake up and blush. Blush. He looks to the whatever kindred are near him and poses a question. Oh, anyone else feeling thirsty this evening?
More than you would know, but I think we should maybe leave here before something bad happens.
Or not to hurt anyone here then?
There are my stalkers, but it would be real difficult, and I really want to. But I think it'll be a bad idea long term. Because us doing this would be a masquerade breach of epic proportions.
Fine.
Charlie just stands up, slides into her hoodie, and pulls the hood up and heads for the door.
Max goes to see if anyone living, not counting our guard for the night, but anyone living is still around. And then he starts to head out.
Malia just gets up. She, a little sunburned, but she doesn't seem much hungrier than she usually is. So where are we going then?
Millie?
Hearing everybody kind of talking through the muffled trunk area, she pops the trunk from the inside and gets out. looking a little roastier than normal, but not any hungrier or any worse for wear other than that. And looking at the others. So, we could have slept in nice, fluffy, lovely beds in a nice big puppy pile, safe from the sun, if you had but followed me last night. But no. You're listening to that one who got us in this mess in the first fucking place. Stalkers. You know they're gonna kill you at some point, right? Because you really stepped all over their feelings, and they were fairly upset last night before I climbed myself in the trunk. So you might want to watch your ass for the rest of your unlife.
That may be true, Millie, but right now I'm almost ready to eat them, and not in the very sensual, sexual way that I'll know best, but, you know.
Amalia will just make a face at that.
Agreed with that face, because ew, I didn't know that. Anyhow, are you forgetting the fact that they were the ones that unlocked the elevator, so that means they are the ones that have to unlock the elevator again for us to go anywhere?
That's why I'm going to check on them. Thank you for the information, though.
My bad, I thought we were in a condo, so Charlie is out of the car.
Oh no. You all are in the condo. The private car porch, the elevator that leads up to this particular condo is in fact security coded. It is locked on to move up and down the building, as well as out of the parking structure on the lower levels. Unfortunately for you all, and luckily for you all are immediately greeted by a member of the living communities of the world. You are greeted by Raiden himself, who has busied himself exploring, cataloging, making himself of use during the day. A little bleary-eyed, or more bleary-eyed than usual. He doesn't remark on the darker tint or tone to the skin. He doesn't remark on much of anything usually. So the fact that he's standing there, hands in pocket, you'd be forsworn if you didn't see that there's a small smirk.
Seem pleased with yourself.
Charlie will have to growl at him and just whisper, "Move."
As you wish. He takes a half step to his left, interspersing himself between Aaron and Charlie. Nothing overtly defensive or offensive in that maneuver. However, Charlie, having been a rough and tumble sort, surviving various situations for years, understands that in that one move, there's not a retreat. It is a tactical maneuver to place himself between what matters and what doesn't. And speaking to Mr. Hamilton, yes, the building security is remarkably impenetrable. All of the private elevators seem to be code locked with a randomized slew of buttons that have their own redundant power supply. And even something as simple as the 4-digit code that they use with such randomized locations would circumvent most usual attempts to crack the code to find which numbers they use. Even if I had the time to social engineer and divest them of their pertinent details, it would take some considerable amounts of time to escape. Luckily, both individuals have day jobs. Well, they called off and are out shopping for presents for. And he pauses and looks towards Max, way to properly express themselves. Every building in Milwaukee must have a minimum of 2 exits. And while it is not exactly surreptitious or unnoticed, there are 2 escape routes that might present themselves to us. The first and easiest being making our way to the roof and utilizing the window cleaning apparatus to descend the building. The other, there is a door which leads into a private stairwell, which will deposit us on one of the many lower floors. It will more than likely not take us completely to the ground floor, but it will give us access to less secure areas of the building.
I think I'd prefer the stairway.
As you wish. Right this way.
Aaron will follow.
But y'all ain't sure it's gonna get us out of the building if we go down the stairs.
No, but it will deposit us on a less secure floor. Whereas the window cleaning apparatus will deposit us on the ground level outside.
Sounds like one's a sure thing and the other's a crapshoot.
One sounds like so much more fun.
You're serious.
Storyteller, does Max remember the key code? If he did make note of it, that she entered when they were entering the code to come in. Does he remember that code by any chance?
The key presses that she used, yes. He could easily replicate the pattern that she entered on the way in. What those numbers actually were, with it being randomized, he would not be able to know.
Okay. Well, I don't know if this will help, but I did watch her enter the key code when we came in. I don't know if that will be of any use, though.
I just want the fuck out of this building. I don't want baby out of the building. I don't want possibly. I don't want to explore the motherfucker. I just want out.
Well, if you jump the fence over by the pool, you'll be out, but you won't have the ground for about 50-something floors, but you'll be out.
Not really in the mood for semantics.
Yeah, that's thought I'd offer. But the only thing is, if I'm wrong and the alarm goes off, we might have a problem. I do have her number, though. I could probably give them a call and ask them, now that we're up for the day, can we, to get the code and leave? Although they may hate me and tell me to go to hell.
Fuck me running. Which way is the roof?
This is delightful.
The roof, right this way. I found the stairwell up. We will have to go outside, of course, but... Mr. Hamilton, would you allow me to escort them to the window cleaning apparatus? And then we can descend via the internals of the building, if you wish.
Please do.
On, live a little. I'm on with this.
I would prefer not go on that contraption.
What's the worst that could happen?
Now. Weight limit exceeded. Falling from the sky at Mach 5.
Okay, enough of this. I'll call them and see if they will let us out.
If you even think about it, I'm snatching your phone and destroying it.
Right, roof.
Man, bro, who woke up on the wrong side of the trunk this morning?
How about y'all stand here and argue and go down the steps or fuck each other? I don't care, but I want out of this building right now. So point me to the roof and y'all can figure it out later. I'll meet up with you.
Raiden, please take her to the roof.
Of course, right this way. There is no other way to say that. It's a very long, convoluted, unreasonable number of steps. They literally moved an estate to the top of this building. It is a monstrosity of design, and with 3 of the 4 walls being floor to ceiling windows, it makes it even all the worse. This is a death trap for any kindred who doesn't, well, abide by the host and party with them in those enclosed, non-windowed rooms, the areas of the place. It's literally, this is where you would take a kindred to die. You give them the best party of the last few moments of their night and just happen to excuse yourself to a restroom, to the interior rooms that have no windows, while they're left out here watching their last and final sunrise. As who all moves with Raiden out around the terrace, up the steps, onto the roof to the contraption?
Well, clearly.
I was the one being bitchy about it.
Can you spare me a few seconds and I'll be right with you guys. If they wait, Max goes into the... Wait.
As you say this, do you walk off? And if you do...
No. He stands there and asks them, will you guys give me a few seconds?
Only persons that can answer that.
Never mind. Let's go. Let's just go.
A raised eyebrow, which for Raiden is a slew of many things said without it ever crossing his lips. Once you all get to the roof, you realize that it is in fact a contraption. He was making no pun nor making light of what it is. It is a scaffold connected with a series of crane works that has it lift and waver over the edge of the building, and the controls, as he outlines how to utilize them, will lower you to the ground, where normally, based on everything he could find on this particular window cleaning contraption, is where they would reload water and cleaning supplies, and then they would go up the other side of the building. It is literally designed that they can, from one position, hit each of the 3 fully glassed sides of this building. Unlike usual, there's a crane or a scaffolding system set up to go down each of the sides independently, so they have to go all the way down, then back up, and then transfer to the other. This is designed to hoist the scaffolding up and over the edge of the building. Again, another absurdly designed element of elitism. As he instructs how to utilize the controls, he also lets slip that this particular design for scaffolding and window cleaning costs upwards of $75,000 to have built and put into place to clean windows.
So what you're saying is we shouldn't break it.
As a tax-paying member of Milwaukee, I would appreciate if you did not. But it is not my place to decide such a thing. You would be depriving the rich of their items, and I'm sure others would end up having to pay for that.
Oh, boo fucking who. Can we go now?
if you so wish. Any steps away. After one more safety, this is where you would clip yourself in. This are the controls to lower and raise. These are the controls to move around the side of the building as per needed. And if you have opportunity, there are several tutorial videos if you get stuck.
Great. Molly will climb in and fasten herself in.
Raiden, how many people can be on this thing at once?
6. There are safety controls to keep it from descending at too increased rate of a speed to cause incident to the building. It also comes with several built-in safety features for braking itself, i.e. stopping its descent should speed be achieved. There's also several safeties where it will stop at nearly every floor until you reach a safe threshold for falling, which is the 3rd story from the ground.
So we won't die on this thing then.
Would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your wits plus either subterfuge or persuasion? Your DC is standard.
Standard being 6
3.
or 4? 3?
3.
Oh, I'm doing awesome today.
No clue in this world or the next as to what. Well, you may roll a willpower if you like. Don't forget that option.
Yeah, I think I'll do that.
Yeah. No whammy, no whammy, no whammy. Stop. There is no. There is no way that look didn't mean there's several thoughts that hit you when you asked that question. We're not gonna die, are we? The look that slaps him across the face that he stoically manages to not actually speak on. 1, you're already dead. 2, knowing how to kill you is part of my job, and I wouldn't kill without being ordered to. But he doesn't say it. The look, the silence, the pursing of the lips, the standing more at attention as you mentioned it. He's no amateur. He wouldn't accidentally kill a kindred unless, of course, he had to. This is not the way that you all would die as kindred. It's unseemly. It's unprofessional. It's amateurish. And without meaning to, he could have easily taken great offense at your disbelief in his skill. In other words, even if you fell off, you are in the company of other kindred. Even if you fell off, it would not in fact kill you because you are already dead. If you fell off, 1, that just proves how clumsy you are, and 2, while it would suck for you, you're already dead. It would not kill you. If you wanted to, you could take a flying header off this building. So long as your head wasn't separated from your shoulders, you would be fine. But what he says is, I don't believe there's an option of changing your state with this contraption.
Max fastened the safety key harness on as he instructed.
Is there a message that I should relay to Mr. Hamilton?
Don't have too much fun without us. We'll meet you at the bar.
He inclines his head and heads back down and inside. Now here's the thing. It is a monstrously, inefficiently designed series of controls. It's almost as if someone took the idea of playing video games on a console and applied it to a very large, unwieldy thing miles above the street below. It's ridiculous. However, it is fairly intuitive. Does anyone have a technology of 1 and an intelligence of at least 2?
Yes.
Excellent.
Technology 1 and intelligence 2. On the nose.
Excellent. No roll needed. You slide over to the controls, having memorized most of what he said, and the rest coming relatively intuitively. In fact, you can remember playing on something like this with one of your former cohorts in a history department. You went back to her apartment, and she was a collector of old video game systems and how they impacted society. And it was called was it an Atari? No. Was it a ColecoVision? No. It was was it a Neocon? No. You it's on the tip of your tongue. You can remember the large, overly muscled gentleman in the orange gi with the bright reddish orange hair. You can't remember the name of the system, but the controls of this contraption and the controls of that particular console is exactly the same. And after a jerk here and a jerk there, you start getting the hang of it, and as it beeps, as it hits each floor, keeping you from accelerating too fast. The ideas as to what nouveau riche individuals do is, well, brings all sorts of worries and thoughts to your mind if they have the wherewithal to design something so elegantly inefficient. And while you all descend, while Raiden is escorting the others to the roof, is there anything that Millie and Aaron might be discussing or might be doing? You're in a clearly trap house situation. Not trap house as far as the vernacular on the street, but trap house because, well, the police use this to, well, get people to do things they probably normally wouldn't. At least not with witnesses.
So, part of me wants to go looking around and see if there's any more information about these two, but the other part of me wants to get the fuck out of here.
Much as I like your line of thinking about searching, learning more about these two, I am starving, annoyed about many things, but mainly about being stuck in a sedan all night. I would very much like to just have my fill and
You do realize that this is not the last we are going to see of them, right?
I know.
They have a thing for him, and now they think we want him, so they have to compete against us for him, and it's going to cause all manner of trouble, especially with her being a cop.
I know. For now, we will respect his wishes and let them live, but when they become a problem again, not make this mistake again.
You mean the mistake of attempting to rescue him?
I mean the mistake of letting them.
Tomato, tomato. Technically, I hate to say it. I mean, with the whole being responsible for him and shit, but I swear to God, he makes some of the stupidest fucking decisions.
We all make stupid
That's neither here nor there.
whether because of emotion, sunken cost fallacy, whatever. We all have irrational moments. All we can do is learn from them, be better next time.
But will he, though? That's the point.
That remains to be seen, but I intend to at least help him along the path.
Mr. Hamilton, will we be doing that before or after our arrival at the bar? Millie, having only this last few months come into understanding a portion of what Raiden does for Aaron, is her composure and resolve total above 4? Millie's?
Yep, it's 5. Yeah, it's a 5. I said that.
Okay. So while you don't leap out of your skin, and while you keep a stiff upper lip as per your training, as per your understanding as to what a good servant needs to be, it is still very much unnerving how silent he can be, moving hither and thither amongst those such as yourself who can even hear a pin drop across a room in the middle of a live concert. The fact that he's able to move so surreptitiously, it's problematic. You'll need to attach a bell as you threatened previously.
Turns to look at him. Silver or copper? Because the bell's getting made one way or the other. But different question, did you punch him in the kidneys? Because I swear I wanted it to happen.
Whom? And with that, he all but turns on his heel, leading you all toward the stairwell down. It is one of the many strange aspects of a building that is, by its very dense, an illegal drain on public resources in its building, and a flouting of public conventions in its design. It adds to the very real echoes and gossip you've heard about there's no such thing as actual laws of the land. It is simply those with money attempting to penalize those without. A endless cycle of preying on and cannibalizing those without. Any crime that has a fine attached is not in fact a crime. It's a charge. It is a cost of being able to do something illegal, unethical, or immoral. You're literally paying for the opportunity of doing whatever it is that you feel you want to do. It's one of the many growing, constant conversations as you've all become popular enough to have those who don't have the opportunity to speaking for themselves inside the community, who feel safe inside the roles, who feel as if, not only can they provide for themselves, i.e. by buying a pint of well-made brew or two, but also because it feels like a community thing. The conversations had quietly at tables amidst the mortals and amongst the other kindred, the railing against the ideas of the prince. Yeah, he was a hero back in the day, but if he was really a hero, you know what they said. You know what Jefferson said. The tree of liberty needs to be watered every decade, every generation with the blood. Blah 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 blah. And they go on and on. They spout Cicero, they spout Langston Hughes and Malcolm X, they mention Che Guevara. It is not a small fact that every successful rebellion and revolution typically begins in a bar. And that's what the Rose has become. It's hard to ignore some of the conversations, but as long as they're not actively saying let's become anarchs, it is really hard to come down too hard on them. They're paying customers, they're willing to come as long as you keep getting the brew from the payer, and as long as you keep tolerating them. And there's even rumors of you all taking them inside council meetings, like they don't have a direct voice, but they at least can be heard. And how the elders and ancilla of the city talked down to you all, and you all withstood it because, just like Martin Luther, you believed in peaceful revolution. You saw how they stood up to them without saying anything. And while all those memories and those small asides are wafting and moving through the stairwell, much like Raiden promised, does not go all the way down. In fact, it only goes down to 10 stories, 10 floors below where you actually are, and exits you all out into the public aspects of the apartments, which are no less, who are we kidding? While it says it in the marketing they're no less luxurious, it is clear that they are completely less luxurious. They're completely less. The levels of quality and craftsmanship, just looking at the walls as you exit, the sound of your footfalls along the fall marble tiles, the cheap and chintzy sconces that are not made of pure hand-wrought metal. All of those things that, well, it's designed to look similar enough to fool those who don't know any better. Having been exposed to the wealth and luxury of this building, the moment you step out, it feels as if you are in a public housing project. And these people are paying several tens of thousands a month to rent these condos, because you're sure they not only can't buy outright, you're sure that they have a double or triple mortgage to afford it, because look at this abject poverty. Are you serious? The doors aren't even the standard 4 and 5 inches thick. They are just a few floors up. What's that door? Maybe an inch and a half, 2, maybe, if they're lucky. You can see the light underneath the door sash. You can see the fact that those doorknobs are clearly bought from some big box store, Home Depot, Menards, Handy Andy. They haven't been handcrafted and designed to meld seamlessly with the door and the jamb. Yeah, you're not sure how they do it, how they live in such abject poverty.
Raiden, a moment if you would.
Of course.
Before we leave and head back to the bar, I would like a refreshment here.
Understandable.
Are you at all parched?
While normally I'd love to, I am a bit picky about my meals, so I will have to wait until I return to the bar from my
As
particular
am I.
friend.
If you don't wish to share,
no.
it is your prerogative, but it just so happens that I have a feeling that my particular tastes can be satisfied here.
By all means. I have no qualm with waiting.
Thank you.
There's no reasonable expectation that most others will ever believe would work. Wealth doesn't always mean anything more to someone who understands how to make their money work for them. However, Aaron is hopeful. Aaron is decidedly particular and has learned the lair of his prey. He's learned to pick out those who have an avarice towards accumulation, those who possess in their heart, in their souls, in their minds, a constant comparison of what enough might ever be, an impossibility in most of their hearts and most of their minds. The collection of outward signs of wealth, such as renting a place in a building such as this, a constant need to have other names on their shoulders as a sign of their own self-importance, and then he sees it. Would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your charisma and persuasion, please. Standard DC.
Would stunning looks apply in this situation?
Already taken off the DC.
Okay.
And while that roll is happening, while Raiden and Aaron and Lily are making their way down through the internals of the building, outside, it is a lovely Milwaukee night. A Midwestern breeze blowing in from the south. The lake lapping the shoreline. As each floor there's a small dinghy, a small beep, a announcement that you've reached the floor, you've reached the proper height to begin scrubbing the windows. And there's a very real sense of it taking absolutely forever. Already annoyed and pained and set upon by your own doubts and recriminations, it is literally taking forever. And yet, as you descend one floor at a time, it's taking far longer to move and get that annoying chime, beep, buzz announcement. With the problems laid out before the coterie at Owl, what, if anything, are they discussing?
Charlie is just more or less white knuckling the railing and watching the ground get closer.
Max is busy looking over his skin to see if there's any blisters or imperfections.
Oh, my dear boy. You know you're in trouble when your beast is cooling. You know you're in trouble when your beast is willing to work with you. You know you're in trouble when the standard perfection that you've grown accustomed to in your unblemished skin, you see a crack here, a peeling bit of something there. The nails have, well, we're not going to talk about what happens to nails that are cooked in microwaves. Would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your wits? Plus persuasion. As high as you possibly can. And do you have level 1 or 2 aspects?
Max has 1 in the hospital.
Okay, so go ahead and give that a name. Alright, so with the persuasion, it is not for you specifically, it's more for your intrusive thoughts and what you denote there on the perfectly normally silky smooth skin that you drift through immortality in. Unfortunately, to whom much is given, much is expected. And as you peer vainly at all of that caramel-tinted undead flesh, having roused to give it the blush of life, having risked the beast to have a human seeming, you are able to see your pores enlarge as they shrank due to dehydration as the skin grew far too taut. And you push the cuff back on your left arm and realize that the vascularity, which has never tempted or toyed with anyone, is standing out as if your arm was carved out of marble. As if someone tried to perfect what the human forearm might look like in dark marbled stone. And mixed in with the pores is all of the dryness that comes from being cooked. Low and slow for a day. The juices that would normally help tenderize and making that meat and make it fall off the bone juicy, well, kindred don't have quite that level of hydration normally. And so the veins standing out, thirsting for hydration. Muscles constricted and withdrawn. The skin far too crinkly for your sensibilities. You can only imagine how sunken your eyes might look. You can only imagine how and what that did to your hair. Looking at your nails and where your cuticles have started to pull back. And you understand all of the old myths and how they believe the dead were, well, as you are, kindred, come back to life. Because in death, while the hair doesn't keep growing despite the wide tails, with the skin being so sallow and shrinking back, it does appear as if it has grown. And while the fingers don't actually turn into claws, with the skin and the cuticles withdrawing, it very much does look like that. And with the sunken lips and cheekbones pulling all the skin back and away, the teeth do look longer. They do look monstrous, like fangs. You can only imagine that's exactly what people are seeing, or might see when you get close enough. A monster. You're no longer perfect.
X looks at the other two and then quickly looks away and kind of turns his back on both of them so that they don't see his face, how horrible he looks. He's terrible. He can't bear to stare at them because he knows that they'll look at him and see the hideousness of him. So he turns away from them.
And the contraction does what it's designed to do, to sway and account for movement. Which of course causes the controller in your hands to blink and flash and alert you to movement, excess lateral movement on the contraption. Almost as if it's a rhythm game that you have to keep up with the buttons on.
DR Window Edition. Amalia will adjust and continue the descent and look over at the person who is clearly moving around uncomfortable. Shh. Sit still.
Don't look at me. I'm horrible right now. Don't. You can't see me like this.
Clearly, I can see you just fine. I have two eyes.
Don't look over here. Look over there and look at Charlie. Don't look over here at me. Charlie.
I mean, I could look in the window and see your reflection, so I don't know. Just calm down.
Yeah, calm down, princess.
He covers his face with his hands. I can't let you see me like this. No, not like this.
Intelligence technology -1. Please. Roll as high as you can.
We've been seeing you like this all night.
Let's see how this works.
Damn it. Who would have thought that using a elegantly inefficient design would cause issues? And there was something that fucking spooky Raiden said, oh, it accounts for safety protocols and will stop you if you're moving too fast. Did he say something about it having to reset? And you're not sure that you kept up with the buttons as best as possible, but the moment that it started to keep going, it literally enforced the safety protocols on you. How dare it take away your agency and force you to be safe? It's fucking ridiculous.
Right. If you are done moving, we can get this thing reset and keep moving.
His hands with his face. As long as you don't look over here, that's fine.
Suck it up, princess. Some of us got real problems.
And this is a huge problem. What are you talking about, Charlie? This is terrible. This is the worst thing that has happened to me at least in 2 weeks.
You were with us when we ran into those guys underground, right? Just be happy you don't look like that.
I look like that now. What are you talking about?
I assure you, you do not.
Y'all know you can heal that damage, right?
Yes, but if I heal that damage, I'm gonna flip. I'm hanging on by claws right now to not flip.
Well, you gotta decide what's more important, flipping or crying.
Once we get on the floor, I'll get some fresh stuff. I would even drink one of those disgusting beers that you guys drink right now if I had a chance. That's how
It is not
desperate
disgusting. It is tasty. You shut your mouth.
And here's the thing, the sooner that you stop being a drama queen and shaking this damn contraption around, the quicker we can get to the ground.
Just don't look over here and I won't move. Just don't look over this way.
Y'all rich folks got some fucked up roads.
I'm just saying, don't look over here and I won't actually have to, he says from behind hands.
Wasn't nobody looking at you anyway till you made a big goddamn deal out of it.
But you looked. That's the thing. You looked. You had to look.
Because while you were sitting there going, don't look at me, you were going, look at me, look at me. Now just shut the fuck up so we can get to the ground.
How far are we from the ground?
15 stories.
Okay, just don't look over here for 15 stories and we'll be fine. Yeah. That's what we'll do. Don't look over here and we'll be fine.
Charlie grumbles mostly to Amalia and says if I throw his ass off of here, then he wouldn't be fucking moving.
Now,
Fair point.
now here's the thing. A small bit of consideration. This is a contraption designed to clean the windows of the apartments and those who pay the exorbitant rents and mortgages and otherwise take ownership in this building. It is after hours, which means it's not during the day when most of them are gone to do whatever it is they do when wasting time to not have to watch their window cleaners. There are families and couples and staff, as others have left town, at home inside those buildings, inside those apartments now. Who has the highest stealth between the three of you all will roll a contested stealth roll with a bonus for you three being there together, and they will receive a -1 because you all are on a cleaning contraption. Some of them are accustomed to it. Some people purposely stand in front of the window as the window cleaners are coming in their bathrobes, sipping their coffee, taking in their well-paid for view of the lake.
So much fun. So I have a combined Dex Stealth of 6.
Same.
Max does not have stealth. That is not a max thing.
Excellent. So who's doing the rolling?
Yeah,
Myth? Okay.
Add a +1.
And you
And you won't receive a minus for max, but you will get it only a +1 instead of a +2. Give it a roll. Let's see what fate decides, as you all have this positively touching heart to heart. Because here's the truth of the matter is, unlike Max, unlike most Toreador in this particular situation, he looks like a guy who had a suntan. That's it. He's got a tan. You all don't pay attention to the pores opening and shrinking and all. You don't have such a... Holy crap. What a roll!
Right? Things are happening.
Her fangs come out and she yells, "You don't see nothing."
Very close to it. As Mal is working at getting it to reset quicker by following the chasing pattern of lights while trying to remain as still as possible, she glances over into the apartment while Charlie is giving Max a calm the fuck down, otherwise I'm gonna throw you the fuck off moment. She looks into the apartment of which you guys are literally sitting outside their bedroom window. The guy on the bed with the Trader Joe's healthy vegan puff corn bucket looks from the TV mounted to his right to the window. Mal frowns with such ferocity. He gets up, leaving his puff corn, turning off his TV, and retreating to the couch in the living room, closing his bedroom door. And in the doing, somehow, you all have averted coming to the attention of anyone who's going to say anything about the strange window cleaners this evening. I thought they stopped working at 3 o'clock. Hey, honey, you wouldn't believe what I saw. The window Nope, none of that. He probably will not make it back to his bedroom for at least another 3 days after this. And with his depart, and the understanding as to where you all are, with Aaron and Raiden finding an apartment, a condo, where the couple inside overly pays for everything as a sign of they've got it, they can spend it, it doesn't matter, even as they work 70 and 80 hours. Millie, it would be a complete and total lie to say that you witnessed a greater massacre. Kindred don't count for some strange reason in your ethics because they're already dead. So what happened at Taco Bell, what you all were forced to do, doesn't have the same weight of consideration. It would be conspicuous for you to wait in the hallway, so of course you head inside and Raiden closes the door. You're not sure how they talked their way in. It was a matter of very quick hushed statements and exchanging of business cards, and you all were invited in. You will not ever get the sound of tearing cartilage out of your head. It's a strange sort of schlucking and sucking happening as the cartilage in their neck is ground to almost nothing, as they're held prone while Aaron makes himself perfectly at home inside their veins. You've never seen a kindred treat the living like Capri Sun bags of juice, at least until now. And as you watch Aaron and vicariously Raiden make short work of this couple and begin setting it so that it looked to be a murder-suicide, there's a creeping dread as to what might have happened if you all remained in the apartment upstairs a little longer. And it is 3 after the hour. Let's take a quick 10-minute here, and we'll pick up with everyone out of the building on their way to the bar and whatever conversations or realizations happen along the way. So see you all back here at 13 after. Welcome back, everybody. How we doing?
Oh, you know.
Yep.
I'm back.
Backstreet Boys. So, without any belaboring of the effort, the nail-biting tension of escaping the building, because that's what you all did. You escaped a secure location and did so without stirring up any further consequences of being in a position of less than the apex predator. While each of you all are dangerous, while each of you all are monsters of the night, while each of you all are predators, the real threat to your existence outside of your own hands is being brought to the attention of the mortal populace. Questions are more dangerous than blades. Inklings and conspiracy theories that have a portion of the populace peering into the dark. While, for the most part, the villagers won't storm the castle with pitchforks and torches, they very much will. People will start asking questions, forums will appear overnight. Those smart enough and operating on a similar system of subterfuge as the Kindred, there will be zines and blogs printed out and meetup groups that seem 100% anonymous. And like a Molotov cocktail once lit, there's nothing for it to do except for explode and make a mess of the situation. You all managed to subvert attention and make it away from that situation. Along the way, moving across the city, is there anything that the coterie might discuss? Is there anything that needs to be accomplished before you all make it back to the Rose?
There's that blood beer at the Rose, right?
Yes.
And Charlie is aware of that.
Yes, very much so.
Well, then she will not run off to hunt. But she will be very quiet and on edge.
Max will look very dour as he actually drinks some with the saddest expression that you could ever imagine on his face. Just disgusted with life in general as he drinks as much as he can while healing.
And Amalia will drink a beer, just happily sipping away.
Well, if we're there, Charlie will chug one and then open another.
There's always a cost of doing business. There's just a natural value of the investment of time, effort, and energies into any enterprise. And while that price is usually conflated with the return on investment, in some cases and sometimes that cost is hidden. It's just not easily visible how much a particular enterprise actually costs in terms of investment. You believe that it's just a few cents here or a few dollars there, and if you save it up and you utilize it correctly and you maximize your return, you'll be fine. But without knowing the full cost, it's almost impossible to maximize your return. It's almost impossible. Such is the case with the brew. The Rose, i.e. the Black Torch where you all are, is a tap house. It is a tasting room. They have tours, and its operation is not just for the brew itself. It is not just for that. In fact, the brew isn't made on site because of not being able to break the recipe and all of those other many factors. But there are still mortals abounding. And while you all have the safe space of the back meeting room, which has become your headquarters, your default fallback, your hall of injustice as you all wage your nightly wars, as you all are enmeshed in the politics of the world around you. The other kindred don't have that safety. They're not invited into the back room. They're not allowed to treat the place as if it is 100% their own, even though with the influx of income coming because of the brew, they are packed to the rafters as far as such things go. And as such, there's only so long, even with the lightening of the ban on the congregation of kindred, before you all started getting attention. There's only so long you all could ride the wave of bootstrap popularity, where you can have the crowds of kindred in your corner, the young, disaffected youth of the city. Everything runs out. The bill always comes due. And tonight, after such a heart-pounding, pulse-racing escape, the bill is slid across the table, unasked for and unappreciated. Millie, you back?
Yep.
So settling in with everyone having a sip and commiserating with themselves and their beasts, it is with all due what the fuck now that Kellen, Mr. McNamara, comes knocking upon the door. And normally his polite though forceful knock is not insistent. It's 1, 2, 3, and then wait patiently. This knock is still as respectful as possible, but it's still knocking. Like,
trying not to growl. She gets up and stalks towards the door and whips it open.
I'm sorry, but unfortunately we've got a problem, and it's more of something that you should handle.
Of course we do.
Perhaps if you have the opportunity, I don't see Mr. Hamilton amongst you, nor his men, but you're going to need muscle.
She looks back at Max and then rolls her eyes. I guess, Charlie, if you've had enough to get yourself together, we might need your help in the front.
What's going on?
Wow, I'm not familiar how much you know of history, but when the Normans and the Vikings come rising up out the sea, it's time to grab your axe or your shillelagh or whatever weapon you have at hand. We've got a fucking Viking and 3 others of his kind coming through the door, and they whisper amongst your sort. It isn't exactly the most polite. Their forces and sides being chosen. No one's thrown a bottle or a chair just yet, but I can tell that it's in the offing.
Did you just say Viking?
What the fuck? Can this not get any worse?
I know. Look at
Shut up.
this.
Okay, we can try and be diplomatic about this. Because I really don't want to get in a fight with any of them right now. And she will put on her best businesswoman, put it together face, hair pinned up, and follow Column back out to the front.
Charlie will follow her.
Amalia will follow and peek out the door.
Max puts the bottle down like it's actually something he shouldn't have near him. And he kind of walks behind Charlie and Amalia.
Everyone's familiar with the old aphorism that the tension was so thick you could cut it with a knife. Everyone understands what that relays. Everyone remembers and understands what that weight in the center of your being, that unease in your stomach and the core of your being when the tension is high enough and thick enough to be crawling along your skin. For Kindred, they live in a heightened reality of that. Very few emotions actually hold for long. Very few actual self-generated energies possess their bodies, possess their courses, causes all of the natural ebb and flow of chemical release. In fact, nearly 90% of what a kindred feels is solely from memories. And it's not about feeding. Most of the emotions derived are self-conflated memories of when they were alive. That is not the case now. There's something unspoken about the bad guys, i.e. anyone who's not inside your circle of trust and respect, do not come to your home, do not visit your haven, do not set foot upon your domain. That's one of the very facets of the traditions. It's to keep that natural response to such threats from causing something unforeseen to bring attention to the world of the damned. And seeing the wolf, Hrothulf, the Viking leader of the Anubi, the would-be have been challenger to the prince, arrive in your public house, causes those actual feelings to pervade, and you're not the only one. You've all become the hub of the disaffected youth, the kindred who are beneath the boot and had existed underneath the full weight of the Anubi for years. And for many, years is literally 2 or 3 or 5. It's not the 30 plus that you've all existed before the change of the status quo. For them, this new breath of freedom, this reinstallment of a city government, this new age is something that they're willing to bleed for. It's something that they're willing to gamble their potential immortality on. And when confronted with the real, earnest ghost of the past, the Anubi's wait as judge, jury, executioner of everything that annoys them, of everything that kept them down, of everything that stood in the way of them hanging their wagons on their stars and riding it to the status that they felt that they deserved, walks through the door into the hub of the resistance. And it's impossible to not look into the corners of the room, to not look at the table spread here and there, and realize that this is the resistance. This is the heart and soul of those who would gladly light a fire to bring everything that once kept the city safe down on itself so they can have agency over their own nights. So as he stands there in the doorway, letting everyone get a full look of him, you can tell that he's actually gauging the exits, how best to get out of here, where that person might break, where we can throw in the way of there, and his three associates as they move in, finally, having let everyone see them for what they were. And he moves towards the bar. He doesn't address anybody because this is a public venue. Then he moves towards the bar as if he knows what he needs to order.
Standing behind Billy there, Charlie takes a pull off her beer and gives him a polite nod.
He drops his chin and his eye line in a nod, slow and far too ominous for such a lovely evening. It's early yet. It hasn't even broke midnight.
He looks like he's in a mood. I'd tread lightly.
Fair enough. She walks herself behind the bar, puts her hands very delicately on top of it. Gentlemen, what might I be able to do for you this evening? It's not often we get such distinguished visitors.
I understand you have access. We take as much brew as you have to give us.
She nods and looks back to Colin. Where are we storage-wise?
And he moves off to return with the proper amount of bottles.
And then she gives him back her attention and gives them a soft smile and then looks to the rest of the room, giving them a see, it's not bad, calm the fuck down look.
If it makes a move, we set his ass on fire.
Some of the rest of you look like you got some things you should be doing elsewhere, right?
It's good to that's on the way out. Raised eyebrows, a look, a up nod from one, a checking in his pockets to make sure that they're properly armed from another, and then you see it before you hear it. There's a nudge, there's a toe tap, there's a clinking of bottles and cheers of what might begin to echo up loud enough to actually be heard instead of just exchanged in glances.
She looks to Pearlie, leaning in so that it doesn't get past where they are at the bar, and mostly directly meant for Charlie's ears. Figure out which one's the leader and handle him for me, please. We don't want this to turn into an outright war. So far, they have offered us no violence. We don't wish to offer them any in return.
She nods and attempts to do so.
Excellent. Would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your Wits Plus Streetwise or your Wits Plus Politics to find out which of them seems to be, in fact, the leader, the most spoken, the heart of the burgeoning movement. Because it is, in fact, a movement. A resistance to all that was. While Charlie is scouting, a raised eyebrow here, a clink of glass there, she begins picking up empties and dead soldiers, meeting eyes, engaging the incoming storm. What is Mal and Max doing? You have one of the would-be leaders of the status quo, as the city was locked down and forced into isolationist policies of security, here in the growing, beating heart of the revolution. And while you all as individuals and as a group are largely apolitical, not everyone is so unmoved by the feelings of others, by the considerations of their own ethics and morality, by their seeming loss of power if things change too much.
Amalia is just going to continue to peek through the doorway, just watching to see if there's any need to intervene or just what's going on.
Max says a silent prayer to himself, not so that it can be heard, but a silent prayer that this happens quickly and they leave. And he looks around to see who might be the first to move when the Viking leaves. He's gonna try to intercept that person to slow it down so that they can leave. We do not need to be known as the home of the anarchs.
Have you guys had the opportunity of drinking in a relatively rowdy college bar? It's one of the few late night places where children with IDs fake enough to pass, and those who've just begun their celebration of inebriation, where the pushes and shoves of the parking lot at the high school or the soccer field at the high school have not quite left their system, where the jocks and queen bees, to keep their positions, institute occasional thunderdomes against the security for the bar or the nightclub, where upon entering they size up the staff for who seems the easiest to take out to get a little bit of a reputation for themselves. Oh, that's Jake, you don't want to fuck with him. Yeah, he knocked out that doorman last week. Or, oh my god, Bethany, she literally threw the waitress over the bar. Those situations is where you all are. And in these mounting few seconds, as Charlie diligently is moving through the crowd, through the tables, picking up dead soldiers, removing potential weapons from tables, making sure people understand that there is a presence here, and you all are choosing to watch instead of intercept before it gets to that point.
Yes.
Okay.
Indubitably. Max does not have the capability of pulling any of that off.
All right. The time to beat the devil is when you first see him. Don't let him creep around the edges. Don't let the grass grow. And in that, with Charlie's immediate success, she picks out the spark. She picks out the heart of the present movement here on the grounds. She sees him clearly as he slides back his chair, as he prepares to make an example of eviscerating the Viking, to antagonize them into making an example out of anyone who stands against them. And as he rises, most of the eyes are on him. Some are moving away and standing towards the door, not in preparation of flight, mind you. And then there's Rolf himself, the wolf, the champion of several hundreds of thousands of skirmishes. Someone who literally you can see in your mind's eye charging across a battlefield, axe and hammer held high, or sword and shield charging the foes. And there are many. And being victorious. A person you could easily see taking a knife into a gunfight and still being considered overarmed for the occurrence. His height, his wariness, and the fact that he is not alone. You've all seen the Anubi in action. You've all witnessed how over the years they grew more militarized and used more. Each battle was an example for all of those others. So the cruelty grew. Their willingness to do great and injurious harm grew. They are monsters that have caused many to lose their nerve just by the sheer mention of it, and all of that nerve turned into resentment. And here, for the first time in over 30 years, is the opportunity to give them a piece of their minds, safely, in the presence of the primogen. Because after all, words can't hurt, right? And with all of that sitting there, what does Charlie do? Charlie has the effective sneak attack before he says whatever it is he's preparing to say. And there's no doubt in your mind that whatever he's preparing to say, Rolf is actually watching him. Doesn't seem like it. He's purposely giving him the room his back to prove that there is no threat here amongst them. He is purposely standing here in the heart, in the midst of the Primogen and all of those rebels. So, sneak attack Charlie, what are you doing?
She'll slide up next to him and slide her arm into his arm and whisper in his ear, "Not now, puppy. Let's just sit down. I'll buy you a drink."
All right. How convincing, how charming is Charlie? Because she's telling the honest truth, she actually does mean that, or is she attempting to manipulate his goodwill towards her?
A little of both. She can be pretty seductive when she wants to be.
Alright, so Looks removes one of his die. No, two of his die. Do you have stunning or just beautiful?
Just beautiful.
Alright, so it removes one of his die in contest. And being as you're being mostly honest with whichever of the two, charisma or manipulation, is higher, and you get a chance. Now, are you attempting to persuade him, or are you attempting to lead him away from a futile effort? Because while, victors are celebrated, martyrs are avenged. You're not sure exactly which way he's leaning. But either way, the whole point is to stand up to the big bad wolf.
She's not terribly persuasive, so she's going to attempt to lead him into a new course of action, which is inaction.
Excellent. Contested. Roll as high as possible can, and I'll get his roll together.
What am I rolling?
Charisma or manipulation on your leadership. And -1 takes his 4 down to 3. Let's see what we got. Oh, well now. What are the chances? He looks you dead in the eye and says just loud enough that his table can hear. And the feelings are earnest. There's tears in his eyes. But someone's got to stand up to them. They can't just keep walking all over us. We're not. They're dogs.
This ain't the time nor the place.
But you're Primogen. They can't just walk over your rights either. Tell them. You stand up for us so I don't have to.
They ain't hurting nobody. They just came for a drink, same as y'all. Not gonna be any fighting in here. Just ignore them.
They've never come here before. They're doing this on purpose. They're trying to intimidate us.
What you're about to do is what he wants you to do.
Fine. I'll wait. But you guys gotta stand up for us. You can't let them keep doing this. They're trying to intimidate us. That's what this is about. This is some jackbooted thug shit.
Welcome to Milwaukee.
And at the bar, Rolf, who's making eye contact lovingly with the bottle of brew brought and sat before him, looks left and right in that slow, purposefully exaggerated manner, and then settles his gaze back on Millie. It's just, oh, I did say enough for everyone. After all, he raises his beer just so that it's shoulder height for him, But at shoulder height for him, it is towering above many of the gathered patrons, especially those who are sitting at the tables. We are all good, upstanding members of the tower. We all know our places. We all know that our loyalty matters more than any other foolish emotion. Correct, Primogen?
She looks at him and gives him a smirk. Well, I appreciate what you're doing. Everybody is equal here. And that means everybody. So everybody follows the same rules when they are here.
Of course. Of course. When we are here, we are family, yes?
You got it.
Excellent.
And then she looks back to Colin. I guess it's around for everybody this evening on this generous man here.
Of course. And he turns towards the gathered assemblage. May we all enjoy what freedoms we are allowed and prove that we deserve what it is we get. Every upstanding member here may drink on my value, may sup on my purse, as we are all upstanding members of this thing of ours, may be bound in honor or bathed in blood. And he takes a sip, a long sip. Drink with me. And you can tell, those of you with any bit of wits and awareness, that it very much is a changing of the temperature in the room. It is clear what he is doing. There's a skill to be had in antagonizing using nothing but positives. You are sure what comes next. Those who won't raise a glass will be marked. Those who won't sip will be stored for later. And the insinuation is clear. This is possible because of him, because of the Anubi. And those with politics understands that this is the effective tossing down of the gauntlet. There's a clear outcome that he's counting on, and a clear outcome that he is prepared for. Because there's nothing he said that is directly antagonistic, but it's the insinuations. It's what's dancing between the words. And those of you with an understanding of presence or unswayable mind, you all get an opportunity to roll. Everyone else, it feels like he just spit in your mom's face.
Well, yay. What are we rolling if we have unswayable mind?
You will be rolling your total of discipline dots, i.e. your plus your resolve. Because, yeah, you just listen to someone cough and hack up a lung and deposit that hacked up mucus directly into the face of your most cherished female family member. Whether it's mom, grandma, great aunt, your favorite cousin. And they're attempting to play it off as if they just coughed it up by accident. They didn't mean for the spittle to land exactly on the tip of their nose or right between their eyes. But you know in your heart of hearts they did it on purpose. And while they're able to effectively cough it off with a coughing fit behind it, you know that the insult was very much the insult on purpose. And even if it wasn't, there's nothing like watching mucus run down the face of a loved one.
I don't have unswayable mind, but I do have presence. So am I still rolling?
Yes. The more the merrier. The more calm, level heads, the better. You want to not give in to that very real, visceral response.
Are we rolling just presence?
Your resolve plus presence, or your resolve plus dominate with your resolve plus if you have unswayable mind. It's not dominate, that's fortitude, sorry. But yeah. So your dots and presence plus your resolve.
So far, this has not been going well for me. Burn a willpower point, so I'm not about to lose my shit.
You wouldn't be losing it, you'd just be setting it down. Right there. Alright, so Max. And we're just waiting on Charlie. Are you going to attempt to resist?
I don't have presence or unswayable mind.
Alright, well, in that case, you just watch someone spit on your most loved and cherished matriarch of your family. What is Charlie's immediate gut response?
What I do have is a background where that's happened to me a lot, so I probably just let it ride.
Okay. Resolve plus composure. Because, yeah, you have the experience of, I need to bite my tongue, I need to keep my hands in my pocket, I need to, whoo, Charlie. That's 4 rolls and 2 failures. So half the gathered children are feeling the effects. You can hear the grousing, like, mother, is he really trying to kill us? And in the crowd. What is your immediate response, Max, to watching a family member be so disrespected in a public venue?
Well, first off, it's the Vikings, so there's
no, not a consideration. You just watch someone close, near, and dear to you be disrespected in a public venue. What is your first response?
His first response is to the room where him and Amalia came out of, him and the entire coterie came out of. He sits his drink down, goes in and walks into that room.
Alright, resolve plus composure. Amalia. Family is important for Mosakato. You've just watched the matriarch of your family be disrespected in a way that, well, is unforgivable. What's your first response?
Let's see. She has likely been bred to sit down and shut up. Yeah, so that would probably be the same. Just okay. She is not the one that does the fighting.
Alright, resolve plus composure. The beast is a wily thing. Much like pride, while it goes before a fall, it can also lift you up. It can also act as the impetus for you reaching the stars. It is a goal. It is a driving force to natural responses of indignation. In this particular moment, while there's enough biting of cheeks and nipping of tongues to fill a coliseum, there's acts of pure, unadulterated holding oneself to keep from acting taking place throughout the room. The grousing rising to the level of being a presence in the space all of its own. The feeling of disrespect and the ire that raises is undeniable. The hackles at the back of your neck and the hair along your forearm stands on end in a very animalistic response of making yourself bigger than the threat to forestall any physical exchanges. And for some, that's a Herculean effort that they readily rouse themselves towards. For most, they attempt to consider the ramifications of what will happen. Yeah, it'll feel good if I just let him but I gotta live here. I got things here. I got shit here. I'll get them back. I'll figure it out a way. And then for others, they slam their beer bottles down, causing it to froth up and out of the glass. Some kick chairs as they move towards the door. Others stare as if their glares are enough to tear down the walls of Jericho. And while no one wants to physically accost or insult or get into a physical altercation because there is a status to rising above, there's a false sense of morality in not being one to defend themselves or their loved ones. There's a very real I'm just a victim. If I do, I'm damned. If I don't, I'm damned. People are willing to accept their victimhood. Would you please be so kind as to increase your hunger by 1 Mal, because you are 1 success short. And instead of your beast immediately taking hold, you take that hit. You take the bites of your beast and the recriminations that come from willing to be the victim of someone else's agency. The Viking is from a different time, very much a product of the cost of being forsworn, the cost of allowing one's pride, filial piety be trampled by another. He has existed far longer than anyone such as him should have, and has managed to not give in to the real draw across the seas. He's managed to find a way to not be pulled out of his presence. He believed he had everything locked in. He knew what had to come next. Death to all tyrants. And he would become the tyrant and put something better in its place. And because of your actions and the actions of others, that has been stalled. This is his opportunity. This is his moment to rouse enough unrest to prove the need for the newbie to do what the newbie had simply already begun doing. As they say, there's a cost of doing business. The bill always comes due. Peter must be paid even if you have to steal from Paul to do it from time to time. And as bottles break and people growls and mouths, the Viking turns back. Showing his back to those gathered. Madam Primogen, thank you for a lovely evening. And it's such a good thing to understand that you've at least taught the children their place in the world. And he sits down a 1/4 inch stack of bills to account for the purchased, the drunk brew. Enjoy your evenings. And he eases out, very much like the fox that got into the hen house and is leaving with not only the hens that will fill their stomach, but the eggs as well. They're smart, and then there's enjoyable. And what everyone did was in fact quite smart. Holding their tongues as best as possible, not actively engaging, but it was the least enjoyable thing that you've all experienced in the last few nights, including all of the bloodletting, the threats of death, and the kiss of the sun. There's something demoralizing about watching that man and his coterie of sycophants walk out unmolested, unchallenged. There's a quote attributed to one of the former first ladies. For someone to walk all over you, you must first lay down. And as the door swings closed, sliding back into place, everyone looks at everyone else. The eyes, the glimpses, the glances look at each other as they realize and silently agree that everyone's just laid down. And in that quietude, in that shunting of responsibilities and accountabilities, I'm going to thank you all for a lovely episode. I'll see you guys next time. Good night, everybody.
Good night.